Hey, what's up guys? Today I've got the Tokina 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 lens that I want to review for you guys. Now, this is a lens that I personally haven't heard a tremendous amount online about this lens. The handful of people that I have seen that have done reviews have been very impressed with its sharpness. So since I had to rent a 24 to 70 millimeter lens for this past weekend, I figured I would go ahead and give this Tokina a try because I saw it on Lens Rental and I figured it's something new. I needed it for the weekend. Let's give it a shot. And I can tell you, I am extremely surprised and very pleased at how well this lens performed. I say surprised because I don't have any experience with Tokina. I don't have any opinions of the company, but I just had never had an experience with them, and since they are a third-party lens manufacturer, sometimes you wonder how good the quality is going to be. But I've been hearing some really good things from some other people that Tokina is really putting out some quality products, and this is no exception. I think as more people begin to use this 24 to 70, I think that you're going to really hear a lot of good things about Tokina. Now, Tokina has taken a completely different approach to this lens than all of the other lens manufacturers. Everybody is trying to shave weight off of their lenses. They're trying to figure out ways to cut a gram here, a gram there. And Tokina said, well, we don't really care about the weight. We just want to build something that's solid and performs well. And they've done that with this lens. As soon as you pick it up, you notice it's rather large. It's very chunky lens, and it is extremely heavy. This thing is like a brick. Most of the other 24 to 70 millimeter lenses weigh in about 1.7, 1.8 pounds. This thing's 2.2 pounds. Now, I can tell you, I'm one of those people out there who's like, half pound, no big deal. But it does become a big deal because this is heavy. I've got this on my 5D Mark III, which has a battery grip, which is already kind of a little bit heavy. But you put this thing on, and it is very heavy. Now, the weight's not a deal breaker for me, but I can tell you, after lugging this thing around for 4 or 5 hours the other day, I began to get tired of it. I'm used to shooting with, a 70 to 200 or, long telephoto lenses for sports. I'm used to carrying around the weight. But having this thing on a camera strap, a Black Rapid style camera strap hanging down as my second lens all day, it began to wear on me. So it's not a deal breaker, but if you're going to be doing things like hiking up into the mountains and stuff, this probably isn't going to be a lens you're going to want to pack around because it is so heavy. But it is so heavy because this thing is built very solidly. This does not feel cheap in any way. It feels very durable, and optically it performed very well. This lens is incredibly sharp for being a zoom lens, and it definitely rivals, if not beats, most of the other 24 to 70s on the market. I can tell you that in terms of the image sharpness and the image quality coming out of this, it was as good as anything I've shot with. Now, most of the sample images I'm going to show you guys during this video were shot at relatively high ISOs, anywhere from 2000 to 6400, which does degrade the image quality a little bit. But even though I was shooting with high ISOs, this thing was still producing some pretty sharp images. Now, I was shooting with high ISOs because I was shooting in low light situations, which can give autofocus systems a little bit of a challenge. And I can tell you, shot after shot, this lens just performed. It never missed focus. It never back focused. The only times that I got out of focus shots were because of me. And that was whether people were moving, standing still in the frame, whatever the case may be. This lens just consistently performed in terms of its autofocus, accuracy, and speed. Even with subjects that are backlit, which most lenses, actually probably all lenses, struggle to focus on people that have heavy backlighting behind them. This lens was, even though it was a little bit slow like most lenses, you can see here it was able to achieve autofocus even with a heavily backlit subject and give me an in-focus shot. It did have to hunt back and forth once or twice before it was able to lock in, but I was happy that it was actually able to do it. Now, one of the complaints that I do have about the image quality from this lens is the lens flare that comes out of this. You can see here in some of these shots that I took, the stadium lights put off some lens flare, and it just made my images a little bit less contrast than what I wanted. It's not a huge deal, but it is something that I wish that they had taken care of in this lens, because outside of that one issue with the image quality, I have absolutely no complaints. One other interesting design feature about this lens is that if you look at it, it doesn't have any switches on it. There's no autofocus, manual focus switch. The way that you switch into manual focus is here on the focusing ring, you slide it back. And I don't know if the microphone's able to pick up that noise, but you hear a little click and then you're able to manually focus. And that's the entire throw of the focus ring right there, just what my hand is moving. But it's something that I actually kind of liked. I don't manually focus very often. If I had to, I would probably be in a little bit of trouble. But typically if I do manually focus, it's because I'm in a low light situation and I don't want to sit there and try to fumble around and find the manual focus, autofocus switch. So I really like the fact that just by having my hand on that focus ring, I can just throw it back, I'm in manual focus, and now I can focus in a low light situation without having to try to find a switch on the side. I think it's actually a really cool feature that I like. Now, most people would probably consider the closest competitor to this lens to be the Tamron 24-70. The Tokina comes in at about $1,000. The Tamron, I think, right now is about $1,200, and then obviously the Canon and Nikon lenses are much more expensive. And it's kind of a toss-up in terms of which lens you like better. I have a little bit of experience with the Tamron. I had personally bought a copy that was having some back focusing issues at certain focal lengths. But even the parts that were in tack sharp focus with the Tamron lens, I think this Tokina by far beats the Tamron in terms of sharpness. Now, and it also beats it in terms of price. It's a couple $100 less. But the Tamron does have vibration control, whereas this has no form of image stabilization in it. Now, for a lot of photographers, I don't know how important the image stabilization is on a 24-70, since it is a relatively short focal length. It's less of an issue. Now, for me personally, I've been leaning towards getting the Tamron lens because of the fact that it has vibration control, not so much for shooting stills, but because I want to get more serious about doing video work, and the vibration control really will make a big difference in that. But in terms of shooting stills, hands down, I would choose this lens if the weight is not an issue, because that is the one drawback to this thing. It is heavy. But in terms of just out and out image quality, I really think that this rivals every 24-70 that I've shot with. Now, granted, I haven't shot with the version 2 of the Canon 24-70, and I haven't shot with the new Nikon 24-70s. But outside of those, I have used most of the 24-70s on the market, and I would say that the image quality from this thing is as good, if not better, than all of those other lenses. And the autofocus performs exceptionally well. No complaints whatsoever. And if you guys watch my videos in the past, you know autofocus issues are something that I complain a lot about because I am very reliant on my autofocus and I shoot a lot of moving subjects and things like that. And so I oftentimes find complaints and issues within the autofocus systems, but I have none whatsoever with this lens. So overall, if you're in the market for a 24-70 and you don't mind lugging around the extra weight, you really can't go wrong by buying this. Unless you need vibration control or you need to shave off the weight, I really think this is the best value on the market. So I hope that helps you guys out. If you guys have any questions about this or anything else, leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.